Smoke hangs low over the lake as canoes slam and overturn while drums vanish beneath muskets and flames race along the causeways. On the temple steps, Aztec warriors loose their final arrows into a storm of Spanish shot. For 3 months they have fought to keep the city alive, but now, so close to the end, Cuauhtémoc can only watch as the heart of his beloved home transforms into a ring of fire. Just 2 years earlier, Tenochtitlan had been a vision of wealth and power. Built on an island in Lake Texcoco in the Valley of Mexico, its canals shone in the sun, gardens floated on rafts of soil, and markets overflowed with goods from across the empire. The Aztecs, known in their own language as the Mexica, believed their world was ordered, stable, and protected by the gods and their emperor. But in 1519, strangers came out of the Eastern Sea. They wore metal armor, carried weapons that spat smoke and thunder, and rode horses, animals the Aztecs had never seen. At their head was Hernán Cortés, a Spanish conquistador with just a few hundred soldiers. His eyes were set on the Valley of Mexico, and each step inland brought him closer to the empire's heart. Many in the region resented the Aztec Empire, which demanded heavy tribute in goods, crops, and people for sacrifice. In Tlaxcala, a powerful city-state that had fought the Aztecs for generations, old enemies saw a chance for revenge. Cortés promised them freedom from Aztec rule, and an alliance was struck. With Tlaxcalan warriors and guides, his small Spanish force swelled into an army moving toward the lake. When Cortés entered Tenochtitlan, Emperor Moctezuma, known in English as Montezuma, received him with gifts of gold, jewels, and feathers. The bridges lowered, palaces opened, and the Spaniards were welcomed as honoured guests. Yet beneath the formal greetings lay uncertainty. Were these newcomers divine envoys, or were they conquerors in disguise? Soon the peace would crack. Cortés seized Montezuma inside his own palace and posted guards at every door, turning the emperor into a prisoner within his own home. Outside, the market still bustled and boats still crossed the canals, but tension spread through the streets and whispers of betrayal grew louder with each passing day. During the festival of Tlaxcatl, music and dancing filled the great square in honor of the god Tezcatlipoca. Without warning, Spanish soldiers attacked the unarmed celebrants, cutting down dancers and priests. The massacre sent shockwaves through the city, shattering trust and sparking a furious revolt. Facing the uprising, the Spaniards tried to flee the city at night along the causeways. But Aztec war canoes closed in from the lake, and defenders hurled spears and stones from rooftops. Many Spaniards fell into the water, dragged down by the weight of stolen gold. Cortés reached the far shore and wept for the dead on what became known as La Noche Triste, the Night of Sorrows. Cortés retreated to Tlaxcala and began planning his return. He ordered the construction of brigantines, small, fast-sailing warships, to control Lake Texcoco. Piece by piece, they were built inland and carried overland to the water, ready to cut Tenochtitlan off from all aid. In Tenochtitlan, Montezuma was dead. Spanish accounts claimed he was struck by stones thrown by his own people when he tried to speak to them from the palace walls. Aztec accounts said the Spaniards killed him themselves. Either way, the empire now had a new ruler, Cuauhtémoc. Young but determined, he refused any thought of surrender. He rallied his warriors, strengthened the causeways, and prepared for the storm he knew was coming. In May 1521, the brigantines sailed onto Lake Texcoco, their sails cutting the water as they blocked canals and severed supply lines. On the causeways, Spanish and Tlaxcalan forces advanced slowly, tearing down bridges as they went. By night, Aztec engineers rebuilt them, and by day, the attackers returned to destroy them again. The siege had begun in earnest. Hunger came quickly, with trade cut off. The great market of Tlatelolco stood empty, and families boiled leather, roots, and weeds to survive. The summer heat brought sickness, and crowded houses became places of both refuge and disease. Still, Cuauhtémoc's warriors fought on, believing the gods might yet deliver them. The causeways became killing grounds. Spanish infantry and Tlaxcalan allies advanced shield by shield, while Aztec warriors struck from rooftops and canoes. Blood mixed with lake water, and every stretch of ground was fought over again and again. On the water, brigantines hunted Aztec canoes with ruthless precision. Their sails gave speed, their cannons shattered wood, and their soldiers boarded in vicious hand-to-hand combat. Each day, fewer canoes returned to the city, and the defenders' reach across the lake shrank. Inside the city, the Spaniards demolished captured buildings to clear lines of fire. Rubble filled canals, smoke choked courtyards, and the once familiar map of Tenochtitlan changed with every battle. When a major causeway bridge fell, the city was cut in two. Messengers swam under cover of night to carry orders, but replies came slowly. Each failed raid to retake the bridge cost more lives, and the defenders' strength ebbed away. Months before the siege began, a deadlier enemy had entered the city: smallpox. This European disease was unknown in the Americas, and it spread with terrifying speed, killing thousands. Even the strongest warriors could fall within days, their bodies covered in sores. Cuauhtémoc led from the front, fighting in the streets and canals. His presence turned retreats into counterattacks, and his voice carried over the chaos. Yet, with each passing week, the city's boundaries shrank, and the enemy pressed closer from all sides. Some allies began to waver. Fear, exhaustion, and hunger pushed them away, and messages to nearby towns went unanswered. Cuauhtémoc's circle of defense grew smaller still, and he knew the end was approaching. By August, only the temple district remained. Drums rolled across the water, warriors painted their faces, and vows were made to fight until the last arrow was gone and the last breath drawn. At dawn, Spanish cannon tore into the temple walls. Infantry climbed through the smoke as defenders hurled stones and spears from above. Muskets cracked, ladders rose, and the banners of the invaders crept ever higher. Fire swept through the district, collapsing roofs and blackening sacred walls. Spanish soldiers looted the temples, and the great square of the gods fell silent under a haze of ash. With the city's defences gone, Cuauhtémoc tried to escape by canoe. Brigantines closed in, surrounding him. Grappling hooks pulled his vessel alongside, and he was taken prisoner. On August 13th, 1521, Cuauhtémoc was brought before Cortés. He offered his dagger, asking to be killed on the spot, but Cortés refused. The last emperor of the Aztecs would live as a captive. Tenochtitlan lay in ruins. Canals carried corpses instead of goods, and survivors were forced into labor. On the shattered foundations, the Spanish began building a new city, replacing temples with churches. The victory had cost the Spaniards dearly, but it had cost the Aztecs everything. Tens of thousands were dead, and the lake that once reflected festivals now mirrored only smoke and silence. Cortés returned to Spain to claim his rewards. He was honoured at court, but his conquest carried shadows: the destruction of a great empire and the loss of countless lives. Cuauhtémoc endured years of captivity. In 1525, accused of plotting against the Spaniards, he was hanged on a jungle road. Among his people, he became a symbol of defiance and honour. Beneath modern Mexico City, the stones of Tenochtitlan remain. Archaeologists uncover temples and plazas buried for centuries, reminders of a city that once ruled the valley. The walls of Tenochtitlan are gone, its temples buried beneath stone and asphalt, yet the city is not silent. Its name is spoken in songs and stories, its gods dance in festival processions, and its language still shapes the voices of millions. Across the waters of the old lake, where once the capital rose, the echo of drums still rolls on the evening air, a heartbeat that refuses to fade. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a new tale. There's always more to explore here on Raconteur, where legends live again.